Welcome back to the Torque Test channel. We bought every cordless right angle impact driver for sale today to our knowledge. But if you know of another or a left angle impact driver we're forgetting about, let us know. We've touched on right angle impact wrenches before, but this is our foray into the drivers. These range massively in both price and capability as we found out today, so stay tuned, should be good. And we'll be starting in order of price with highest first, so that's the Makita XLT-01Z for $179 bare. It is made in Japan, so there's that, and the last Japanese Makita we tested really brought the beans. But that brings up a decent point. We're no stranger to impact drivers on this channel. This is an impact driver, not a right angle impact wrench or ratchet or impact ratchet to clarify. And the impact drivers we usually test are admittedly a bit silly. Yes, of course, we and many of you want to know how many beans they can deliver to just see who's on top, but certainly one small impact driver delivering 188 and another making 177 foot-pounds doesn't make the 177 model worse. They're usually driving deck screws, maybe some lags, or top of the engine valve cover bolts maybe. But this category of impact drivers, these all deliver pretty meager levels of torque by reputation, so finding one that can deliver the beans might be the difference between doing a job and not at all. But when you're strapped for space, you can't always be that picky. This Makita is no new model by any means, but it is their only right angle impact driver in the market with few other options. This is definitely going to be a search result if you're looking for one. Let's see how she does in our first test called working torque. It's 5 seconds and forward. Here she is on screen. "27 foot-pounds. Going to have to admit that that's not very exciting, but this is just one contender so far, so let's see a comparison. And also, speaking of not being all that new, enter the Milwaukee M18 2667-20. $149 bare now, so a little less, but still up there for a driver. A very similar design to that Makita, and you'll notice it's missing any fuel logoing going on. That's because this is brushed, also like the Makita. Not because they have a more expensive fuel version as well though, this is it in 18 volt. When we tested right angle impact wrenches and the M12, many of our viewers pointed out that Milwaukee does in fact have an 18 volt right angle. I don't know, probably confusing drivers and wrenches, but felt this might be the real source of beans from the brand. Okay, let's see that. $52. Okay, quite a bit up from the Makita, but not exactly knocking on the door of the M12 wrench that's made for bolts, and it scored 114 foot-pounds in this test, and was quickly eclipsed by the Cobalt, which is rated for less torque, but moving on. And here we have more M12 to speak of because this is the M12 2467-20. This takes things from $149 down to $99, a bit more reasonable, and a smaller form factor as well. Though the head measured for us at 2.24 inches, and the M18 was 2.2, supposedly you're also losing some torque by using M12. Milwaukee rates this for 660 instead of 675 inch-pounds. We're going to be using the XE 6.0 M12 pack that we've had the most luck with. Here's its first working torque run. $34, so yeah, so far packing a bit less punch for sure. Last up is the Skill, and this sells for $99 as well, as a kit shown here. So by far the cheapest right angle impact driver option on the market. Skill is of course made by Shervon, who makes Ego and Flex power tools, but Skill is more of their DIY level, at least price-wise, we'll have to see. Coming out much more recently, this model benefits from a brushless design, but it also is going to be rocking a 2 amp hour 12 volt battery provided with it, which is the smallest on the day by a factor of at least 3. The 360-degree lighting is practically space-age compared to the others, and we'd like to see it on more other types of tools as well, like the IR cordless impact we tested. But what about those beans? Are those DIY caliber as well? In black on screen. 67 foot-pounds. I mean, won't be impressing the ladies around here with those numbers, but in this bunch, that's near head and shoulders above the rest. Let's hop now into our max torque test. This is 10 seconds in reverse. Makita's up first, and Makitas always do seem to prefer that reverse. $47, okay, so increasing things from 27, we can say that much. And here's the Milwaukee M18. $45. Weird, that's less than its shorter working torque run of 52, and this is its median run. Doesn't seem to love reverse, though usually not a huge deal for a driver after all. Here's how the M12 did. $52, the M12 liking reverse more than forward, and more than the M18 brother for whatever reason. Last up is the skill. $70 foot-pounds, yep, sort of in its own territory again, though not moving the needle a whole lot in reverse compared to its 67 working torque run. Let's settle it then. Here's our third and final test called best case forward max torque, 10 seconds in forward, batteries freshly charged, their best runs. Here's the Makita versus the M18. That M18 taking back its spot above the Makita now that we're back and forward with 53 foot-pounds over 43. We're not talking a lot of torque here. This is the M18 trying to loosen just 43 foot-pounds. So yeah. Now for the 12-volt Milwaukee with its XC 6.0 battery. Just 38 from the N12, it really did prefer reverse on the day. And finally, the skill with a battery 1/3 the size of that M12's. $84. Now that we're back and forward, skill is liking things even better. Really in a category of its own despite only really 4 examples of this tool existing in the market. No doubt it's because of its more modern brushless design, but all these tools are marketed still for sale today for the same use. This one just seems to do it all better. Let's see what our rank chart thinks though of the rest. In descending price, we have the Makita M18, M12, and skill. And since their torque output was so low in general, we're dividing their run by 2 here for their points rather than the usual divider. That's 14, 24, and 22 points for the Makita. Not super impressive, even 5 years ago, I'd imagine. 26, 23, and 27 for the M18. 17, 26, and 19 for that reverse favoring M12. Then 34, 35, and 42 for the skill. When it comes to size or head length, things go in order here with the Makita being the smallest, up to the largest with the skill, but not by a mile. In foot-pounds per inch, that's 22.4, 24.1, 23.1, and 33.3. Truthfully, if you looked at the torque ratings of each of these tools and converted it to foot-pounds, you have a pretty earnest picture of each of their performance. Not that we're used to that on this channel or would recommend using that as a rule, and 675 inch-pounds is sort of hard to picture in general, but these tools made 100%, 95%, 100%, and 100% of their claims. The M18 just shy of its claim for us, and the skill overshooting it by a bit, but being maxed out at 100 here. Price for performance. Oh boy, this is the biggest crime if you ask me. $179. I know that's Japanese exchange rate is rough right now, but for 43 to 47 foot-pounds, 3.9 points. Then 5.3, 7.9, and 16 for the bare price skill. That totals 186.3, 200.4, a bit lower for the M12 with 193.1, and 260.3, putting the skill way into first, and the only dedicated right angle impact driver that's worth its salt by our estimation. I know people love to bellyache about their battery platform that's apparently going to be stamped in their gravestone, so they can't waver from it, but the skill with a battery and a charger is a cheaper buy than any other name brand option on the market today. Even if you left the battery attached to the tool and used it for nothing else, not only is it a cheaper option, but a more powerful one that offers better lighting is seriously useful for once. Yes, it drives screws too, with no slowdown. Listen, this thing has 30 reviews, and an Amazon sales estimator says they're selling about 30 pieces a month, and I know it's sold at Lowe's too, but that seems criminally low for the only brand to actually take a meaningful swing at this type of tool. We have nothing to gain by saying so. We'll find out if their other tools are trash and let you know, but this one seems like the obvious route for tight spaces in between plumbing and wall studs, and for only 1.5 times the price of a good Milwaukee right angle adapter. Appreciate you tuning in for this one. Click subscribe to follow us for the next one, and thanks for watching.